Okay, I promised some videos on food prep. This is going to be my first one on food prep, and we're going to make shredded chicken using sous vide and a KitchenAid stand mixer. Sous vide is a French technique that stands for under vacuum. What that means is we're going to vacuum seal food with seasoning in it, and we're going to place it in a water bath with what's called an immersion circulator. This particular one here is made by a company called Anova. There's another company called Sensair, and there's a third one that is used in home kitchens, and I don't remember the name of it. But it should run you about $200. They're really simple to use. You set a temperature, and it basically moves water around in a circular pattern inside inside whatever you use. I just use this converted styrofoam container with a hole in the lid. It's a lot cheaper than using something else, and it keeps things warm and doesn't make a mess, and it's cheap and cuts down on the amount of energy that's being used. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some chicken breast and I'm going to season it and vacuum seal it and just put it in here for about 3 to 4 hours and let it get fully cooked. The beauty of sous vide is that it will never get above the temperature of the water. So I can put anything in here and have it cook at a very precise temperature and be cooked all the way through without having to worry about it getting overcooked, undercooked, or losing moisture or flavor. Now, as far as seasonings go, there's a lot of options that you have when you're seasoning your food. But keeping a well-stocked variety of seasonings will really be able to help you keep your food interesting by being able to change it up. Obviously, going out and acquiring all of this in one shot would be very expensive. This is a collection that I've built up over many years, but all the same, build yourself a good variety if you don't want to get tired of the same foods. Okay, so we're going to start with our chicken breast. We want to get it nice and dry because for a good vacuum seal, it's actually really important that we eliminate as much moisture, because once the food saver starts going, it'll pull moisture out of the bag and into the area that it's going to try to seal up. And then we won't get a good seal, and we'll end up with our seasonings leaking out of the bag and into the sous vide water. So what I'm going to actually do, in spite of the fact that I have a gigantic cabinet full of all kinds of good stuff, is I'm going to show that you can do this with very basic equipment. This is Mrs. Dash's Table Blend. There's no salt in it, and there's a whole bunch of other good stuff, including cayenne pepper and herbs and... Anyway, I'm not going to read the ingredients, but basically we're going to really liberally season these things. It doesn't really matter if you do both sides, but I'm going to anyway. Then take our vacuum sealer, start by sealing the loose end off the roll. And again, you don't have to use a food saver, anything will work. And actually, if you don't have a food saver, you can use a Ziploc bag. You take a Ziploc bag and you put your chicken or whatever you're going to sous vide in it and slowly lower it down into liquid. And the liquid will actually squeeze the air out. Once you get to the very top, just run your finger across the zipper and you've got sort of a makeshift vacuum sealer. It won't hold up quite as well as one of these, but it'll make do, especially if you don't have one. And a mistake that's easy to make is to not cut off enough of this bag. You want to make sure that you're good and liberal with this. Cut off a good amount. And we just stuff our chicken breast in here. Put it on the vacuum sealer. As you can see, the liquid's starting to creep up here, which is why we gave ourselves a little bit of extra room at the top. Once the lights turn off on here, we've got a good spill. And this goes straight into the water bath that's over here. And that will just sit in there for about 3 or 4 hours. It'll be fully cooked, and when it's finished, we'll come back and shred it. All right, so it's been about 4 hours on our sous vide. We're gonna pop that open and have a look. And as you can see here, the chicken is fully cooked, and we've got a lot of juice off of it, and we want to make sure that we retain all of that juice because that's going to be what lets our shredded chicken remain juicy. And a couple of notes about the sous vide thing. I forgot to mention, first of all, if you're going to use a styrofoam cooler, line it with a trash bag, because when you put warm water in these things, it has a tendency to seep out and make quite a bit of a mess. Secondly, if you can't afford, don't want to buy a circulator, one thing you can do is you can make a similar setup to this and then just pour hot water in. The larger the cooler, the better. And either vacuum seal or use the Ziploc method on your meats and throw those in there. You just have to be very vigilant about monitoring the temperature and making sure it doesn't drop too low. And you can always bring it back up by adding boiling water to it. Just make sure that you measure it with a good, accurate thermometer. To shred all this chicken, basically all we need to do is I'm going to cut open this bag, dump the chicken in here, and we're going to use our paddle attachment with KitchenAid and that will shred it all up in just a couple of minutes. And yes, my KitchenAid has flames on the side because it's that awesome. I always want to try to open this over some kind of a container in case it leaks. Remember, the contents are whatever temperature that you had your system running at. And so this stuff has been basting in the flavoring and its own juices for a couple of hours. So it's got a nice flavor already. Now this part is actually a little bit messy, unfortunately. This is my wife's least favorite part. And if we can get a good look inside here, you can see that the paddle attachment actually is great at shredding the chicken. So all I have to do is just let this run for about 5 minutes, and then I can take all that chicken and put it in a container and put it in the refrigerator, and I've got shredded chicken available for anything I want to use it for, including paleo tacos, or putting it in breakfast, or just stir-frying it up with a little bit of the, and again without oil, but stir-frying it in a non-stick skillet with some brown rice and some vegetables for lunch. The possibilities are endless, but having the already cooked, already shredded chicken means that you can get creative and make up something very, very quickly if you need to, and you don't have to go and stop at the Taco Bell drive-thru. So after a couple of minutes, this is our shredded chicken here. This was 4 chicken breasts, and this will just fit into a nice container, refrigerate, and should be good for several days.